I would like to welcome you to See Simple Secrets podcast.
Thank you for joining me for this episode. Tonight's episode is going to be Let It Go. This topic came from just listening to the new Summer Walker EP, Life on Earth, and she had a song titled Let It Go. And it just kind of spoke to me because in today's climate, a lot of people are talking about letting go of those situations or people that don't serve you, especially in this time that we're living through with the pandemic and everything. It's just causing people to be more reflective about their energy and their space and who they let into their space. I just had a few ideas on letting things go. The first really stems from relationships, because a lot of us have been in those relationships where you realize it's a situation that you just literally need to let go. It's no longer serving you. You're no longer serving that person. I think it's because a lot of times we get into relationships based on expectations. And it's dangerous because expectations are not reality. It's like we see this person and we see this person for who they can be. And of course you want to see potential in a person, but you should also love and appreciate the person that's in front of you. And if you find yourself looking at someone and looking more so at their potential or the expectations that you have for them rather than what you see in front of you, that's a problem. I read a quote on a friend's page, and he was saying, why don't people just accept it? If you say that you don't want to be in a relationship, why can't they just accept that you don't want to be in a relationship? And I know it's difficult for a lot of people to accept, because it's like, if I'm spending my time with you and we basically have a relationship, because a friendship is a form of a relationship, but you just don't want to title this relationship that we're in, it kind of puts you in a predicament where you're like, you enjoy spending time with this person. However, you're looking to go to the next level, and that person told you, look, I don't really want to be in a relationship. And I think that's where we coin that term situationship, or most recently entanglement, because it's like you find yourself in a situation where you don't really want to be in a relationship, but you want to do all the relationship things. You want to go out together, you calling each other, you texting each other all the time. This situationship is looking more like a relationship, but it's only a relationship for one of the people that's involved in that situation. Therefore, we have an entanglement or a situationship. And so when someone tells you what they want, then you have to just accept that. Either you're going to accept that you're going to be in that type of situation with them, or you're going to just let it go. One thing that you cannot force someone to do is to do something against their will, or to do something that they have no desire to do. So you have to decide if that's a situation that you want to be in. And if it's something more that you need, then it's time to let that situation go. The longer that you hold on to that, you're not gaining anything. You're not getting a prize for that. And internally, it's hurting you because it's not what you really want. So in that case, it's a situation that's not serving you. It's serving the other person that's involved. I mean, you may be getting benefits from it, like going out or, whatever that person may do for you. But ultimately, it's not really what you want. So it's not serving you. And another thing that I kind of wanted to address is that this thing where we kind of look for one person to meet all of our needs. I think that's another kind of pitfall of relationships, is that one person is never going to be able to meet all of your needs, because that's why we have multiple people in our lives. You have your parents for a reason, or your siblings for a reason, or your friends for a reason. Everyone has a particular place I do believe that the person that you're with should meet a lot of your needs as far as what you need emotionally, and other needs that you may have. But you do have other people in your life that will also meet some of those needs that you have. But I think the problem comes in where we expect this person to just forget everyone else that's around and focus entirely on us. Like, this person cannot have any life outside of you. Y'all have to go to the grocery store together. Y'all have to go to the movies together. Y'all have to go to the bathroom together. Y'all have to everything that you do, you got to do together. And I think that's another way that people kind of miss out on certain things. Like, I've heard people say that they wanted to do a particular thing, and because the person that they're in a relationship with didn't want to do it, then they decided not to do it. And I don't know, from my perspective, it's like, if it's something that I really want to do, I might just have to do it alone. Like, I don't know if I would miss out on that opportunity because the other person didn't want to do it. Like, I've traveled to more than one state on my own. You can get on a plane by yourself. You can get off the plane by yourself. You can go to your location or your destination by yourself. And I had no problem with it. I've gone to concerts by myself. I had no problem with it because it was something that I desired to do. And anybody that has ever been somewhere with someone, you have to work around that person. And I guess that's a level of a relationship that some of us aspire to, but may not be there yet. And, if I want to go somewhere, at times I just get up and do it because it's something that I want to do. And so, I don't know, it just depends on where you are in that case. And of course, after I get done doing it and I tell people I did it, I went to such and such concert by myself. It's like, well, why did you go by yourself? I could have gone with you. And it's like, well, I know. But if you were to go with me, then I would have had to make sure that we bought the tickets on the same day, or we sat next to each other. And was it your payday? And if it wasn't, then I got to wait till next week to get my tickets. Then when we wait till next week, somebody done bought all the tickets, or we got to decide if I'm going to buy the tickets and you going to pay me back, or however. Sometimes it's just too much involved. I just feel like you can't have one person meet all of those needs. You have several people in your life for a reason, and you should take advantage of them being there for you. There's things that you only want to talk to about with your mate, then there's nothing wrong with that, because I do feel like your mate should be your best friend. It should be somebody that you can go to about anything, and you all should have a certain type of closeness and a relationship that you don't have with anybody else. And I also think that if that's not how your mate feels about you, and that's how you feel about them, then that's a situation that you may need to let go of, because you want them to feel like they're your best friend and you're their best friend. You want it to be a mutually beneficial relationship. To close it out, I just want to say you can't change people. They have to desire a change for themselves. And if they don't desire to change, like, I've had people tell me, I'm not going to change. This is just the way that I am. And you either accept that, or you say, well, you know what? This isn't the relationship for me. Or, a person may say that to you, but then over time you notice them changing because internally they realize that the changes that you want them to make possibly are changes that they see for themselves. They see that they need to improve their attitude, or they need to improve their certain ways of doing things. And now your influence has caused them to change. And I think that's a different situation as well. But if the person that you're with is hurting the person that you are, and you're not able to be yourself, and you feel like you're closing off a part of yourself in order to be with this person, then that's a situation that you need to let go of. I also wanted to caution you guys about getting into relationships based on need and codependency. It's just, it takes me back to the whole Jada situation and the table talk that she did. And she was talking about how, just being in that codependent relationship where, like I said, you can't really do anything without that person. And so if that person can't do something with you, it leaves a void. And so now you need something to fill that void with. And it's kind of like what mothers go through when they have empty nest syndrome. So, when all their children are gone, it's like, okay, now I put all of my time and energy and efforts into these little people, and, now they're adults. And so now I don't really know what to do with myself because I'm not really mothering them anymore. Instead of realizing like, okay, this relationship is going to another level. So now I don't have to necessarily mother them, but now we can go into a friendship realm, or instead of thinking in that way, it becomes a saddening thing where it's like, okay, they're not my babies anymore. So now I need something to nurture or to take care of. And then you end up in a situation that you may not necessarily have intended on being in, but it was the need in you that saw a need in that individual, and then you all came together to meet one another's needs. And this type of relationship it can turn into a permanent situation, but more than likely, once that need is met, it no longer needs to be met anymore. And then you come to a realization that this relationship or this situation is not for you. It could be one of those things where the connection seems very real, but it's exposing some things in you that you need to let go of. And I have to say that, while you're holding on to one thing, you're blocking the space for other things that you really want to come into your life. So you're saying that these are the things that you want. And I really urge people, like, when you have those thoughts, I keep a notebook and a pen nearby, and I'm constantly writing. And if I don't have my notebook and my pen, then I have my notes in my phone, and I'm constantly writing those things and making those lists. If it's something that you want in life, you really need to write it down, because if you write it down, you can go back to it. To me, it's more valid when I write things down, because it's like I have a record that these are the things that I was thinking. And then I can go back to it and say, wow, I was thinking these things on this date, and now these things have come to fruition. So I love to write things down and just kind of speak those things that be not as though they were. Just speak over yourself, encourage yourself, say those affirmations or those things that you really want. I want this type of husband, I want this type of wife, and start speaking those things into your life rather than settling for those things that come your way. And I also thought about just getting to a place of self-love and healing. So when you're in that place of self-love and healing, you're not looking for another person to heal you, because you're doing the work to heal yourself. You're looking at yourself and you're saying, do I have any trauma? Am I looking for the worst in situations? Is my attitude or my mentality or my approach, am I coming from the right mindset? You need to reflect on those things and see, why are those relationships not working out? Or why is it that you don't desire to be in a relationship? What is it about yourself that you need to work on before you get into a relationship with someone that's more serious and heading in the direction that you want it to be heading in? And this is why it's not always a good idea. I know I've heard it a million times, you jump from one person to another. Like, that's the easiest way to get over one person is to jump into another situation with someone else. And I can see where that theory came from, because it's like, you might be hurting from this breakup or whatever. And so, you feel like this next person is going to be a lot of fun. But I think once again, that's where we get into that gray area where it's like, Okay, you're having fun, you're enjoying yourself, but how is this person feeling that you're kind of using, so to speak, for your own enjoyment? And I think that's definitely something that you need to consider. If this person is feeling like this situation is a lot more serious and you're lighthearted about it, you saying, hey, this is just an entanglement, but they feel like you're the love of their life. Like, that's a serious situation where, you need to make sure that that person knows that this is not a serious situation for me, or I'm not trying to get into anything serious. I'm just trying to deal with what I'm dealing with. And I just need you to be there for me and through this with me. But that doesn't mean that this is something for the future. So once again, this is just seasonal. It's not a permanent situation. So to keep that from happening, I think you really just need to process the situation that you were in. So that relationship that you were in, you need to process what happened first. What was the progression of things? How did we get to this point? How did you become this person that I'm looking at in front of me right now? Or how did I become this person? Because this is not who I was when I first entered into this relationship. So let's process things first, I think. And sometimes you got to process by yourself. I know that we love talking to our friends about these things and running everything by them. And girl, you can't believe, like, he said this to me. And what do you think he meant by that? Like, I'm not sure what he meant. Did he mean this? Did he mean that? I know, I've been there. We want to run things by our friends, but sometimes you cannot run everything by your friends. For one, it's because what if you decide to get back with this person? Then they remember everything that you told them about this person, and it changes their perspective of them. And if you ever plan on putting them in a room with each other again, it's going to jade their perspective of that person. So that's one. And two, only you know. If you were in a relationship with this person, who knows better than you what happened? Honestly, is there anyone that knows better than you what happened in your relationship? How you all got to that point? Or besides the other person? So if you're able to even process with that person and say, how did we get here? And if not, if you're processing on your own, how did I get here? How did I get so jealous that I went and bust all his windows? How did I get so worried that I was going through his phone? Like, how did I turn into this person? How did I get so crazy, so worried about this situation, so jealous that I walked up to her best friend and started accusing him of something going on between them? And he had been in her life forever. Like, it's just, we're all human, of course, but we need to analyze how we got into these situations that we got into. Was it something that happened in your past that caused you to think this way? Like, oh, you think all women are cheating because people that you've been with, everybody that you were with has cheated on you except one person. So all women are cheaters. And all men lied because one man lied to you, maybe two. Not all men are liars. Like, we need to process these things. And we also need to think about, maybe it's something that you're doing or not doing that's attracting this same type of person. What is it about you that's attracting this individual? And that's something that maybe a friend could help you with that. Girl, why do I keep attracting these same kind of men? Like, I don't understand. What am I doing? And then she could tell you, because a friend can see. Now, that's one thing. They can definitely see the progression of the people that you're with and say, yeah, oh, you choose men that don't really want to be in relationships. Or, yeah, you keep choosing the same type of man. Like, you say that you want this type of person, but you keep choosing that type of person. Yeah, man, you keep saying that you want a wife, but you're not choosing wife material. You going off this, you going off that, you going off looks, you going off the car that they drive, you going off the clothes that they're wearing, but you're not really going off the person. And if the person is not in the package that you want them in, they can have all the other traits that you want. They can check off every box on your list, but he wears button-ups and he tucks in his shirt. And now, that just ain't the one for me. I need somebody with a little hood in their life. So we have to really start evaluating our decisions and process. And you're going to have to do some processing on your own as well. You can do some processing with a friend, but I say do some processing on your own and get real with yourself and really reflect about your past choices and your current choices. And you start noticing some patterns. It's just like when we sit down and analyze data. It's the same type of thing. You need to start collecting the data. And like they say, numbers don't lie. So when you're looking in 3 out of 5 guys or 3 out of 5 girls have these same traits, what is it that you're doing? Why do you keep choosing these people? And we got to stop playing the blame game. Oh, it was his fault. Oh, it was her fault. And we got to take some responsibility, and we have to be accountable for the decisions that we're making.
So in the next episode, what we'll be doing is going over actionable steps to help you to let things go. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.